And while we sit here at record levels, the market will be turning its attention to earnings season, which gets underway in earnest next week. Bob Pisani tells us the one thing that investors must keep an eye on.
Earnings season is officially upon us once again. Citigroup kicking things off on Monday. But for investors, it's going to be all about guidance. Bears believe the second half guidance is going to be cautious and on the weaker side due to slower global growth and trade and tariff issues. What about the bulls? Well, they're arguing that dovish central banks and the prospect of some kind of trade deal getting done by the end of the year, well, that's going to win the day. The problem is earnings estimates for 2019 are basically flattish, but the S&P is up nearly 20%. That means the market's really expensive now. It's pricey. 17 times forward earnings. That's historically high. All right, so bulls, bears, who's right? Traders are sort of hedging their bets. The market believes the cyclical sectors with the global exposure have a high chance of disappointing. And that's partly why energy stocks, material stocks, certain industrials like transports have underperformed in the last several months. Look at Fastenal, for example. These are makers of tools and motors and fasteners. They posted lower revenues and lower gross margins this week. They cited higher costs largely related to tariffs. On the flip side, defensive and domestic sectors with less exposure to the global economy in theory should be more protected from the global slowdown. So we're seeing healthcare and real estate and utilities and to some extent consumer staples all doing better than the overall market in the past couple of months. The market seems comfortable with these flattish kind of earnings, but those earnings could quickly go from flattish to negative if there is no U.S.-China trade agreement, and it will certainly go negative if tariffs increase. So buckle up, the markets could be in for a very bumpy ride. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Bob Pisani at the New York Stock Exchange.